analog communication. So analog signal is just look like this. This is what the way of representation of any signals. इस ढंग से कोई भी signals को represent किया जाता है. Okay. Now, what signal I consider? I consider one periodic sinusoidal wave signal. Okay. This is one of my signals. Okay. तो एक बात हमेशा ध्यान में रखिए in throughout the discussion in the signals हम यहाँ पे horizontal axis पे हमेशा t डिनोट करते हैं. हॉरिजॉन्टल एक्सिस पे हमेशा हम t डिनोट करेंगे और जो वर्टिकल एक्सिस है यहाँ पे हम करेंगे कंसीडर x of t. तो what is t and what is x of t ये हमें सबसे पहले समझना है. Once we understand the meaning of this mathematical analysis of x of t and t, then I can define the different types of signals because these are the some mathematical attributes by which we can understand the concept how it will take place. Now concept is very clear. The concept is says this is what x of t and this is what t. Now what is the meaning of t? T is nothing but what? It is any fundamental function of time. Means कोई भी signal होता है, the signal should be a function of some parameters. Most of the case in the real time world, whatever information we have, that information we consider in terms of time. So this is what my time. Okay. If I'm talking about this time, so is there a values of time? So yes, the time, the range is values from minus infinity to plus infinity. Means the parameter within this bracket, if I specified some function like a t, x of t. So what is the meaning of this t? T is nothing but what? It is a function of time having the range from minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay. Now minus infinity to plus infinity. Then what is the role of this x? What is mean by x? X is nothing but what? This is nothing but what? The structure of your waveform, or I can say the amplitude of your waveform at particular the value of t. Means x, the value of x will vary with respect to the value of t. Because if you see here, at this point, in this point, if you see, this is what the initial point at the vertex axis I consider as a 0, and there the sinusoidal wave is again 0. But as this sine wave function changes, here it is 0. This is what my plus side, and this is what my negative side. Okay. So with respect to the value of t, sinusoidal function is changing. So ultimately, what in mathematics or in signals and system, when we are talking about any mathematical relation, we should know the meaning of x of t and t. So these are the some parameters by which we can understand the concept of signals. Now, how we can define this particular signal, that is second part. But before going to discuss any signals, we should know what is t and what is x of t. Now, there are some standard signals is already given by this signals and processing. I'll repeat, please listen. There are some standard signals are there where we can define, we can understand. Now, you may have a question, what is meant by standard signals? उसके पहले एक मुझे बात बता दीजिए, क्या आपको ऑडियो एंड वीडियो बोथ आर क्लियर? यस और नो? कोई भी एक बता दीजिए.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello? Hello? Audio and video both.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clear.
आपको आवाज आ रही है मेरी? कोई भी मुझे सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है, दैट्स व्हाई आई एम टेलिंग यू।
यस सर आ रही है।
सर आ रही है आवाज।
यस सर साउंड आ रहा है। यस सर ऑडियो इज क्लियर।
आ रहा है सर। Okay, so now this is what the case. Now we'll touch the start and unit number one as we discussed. My question is again, I'll start with my same point. What is mean by standard signal? Up to now, we have discussed about only the definition of signals. अभी तक हमने जो भी डिस्कशन किया है वो सिर्फ सिग्नल्स के बारे में। व्हाट इज सिग्नल? सिग्नल इज एनी फिजिकल फिनोमेना दैट कैरीज और कन्वेज सम इंफॉर्मेशन। Yes, it is right, absolutely right, that it carry or convey some information that I consider as a signal. My question is what is mean by standard? क्या इसमें भी स्टैंडर्ड्स रहते हैं जैसे हमारे लाइफस्टाइल में भी रहते हैं? हम कहते हैं ये स्टैंडर्ड लोग हैं, कोई कहते हैं ये स्टैंडर्ड नहीं है। ओके, सो ये और वो मीनिंग सेम है। So please understand the meaning of standard signal. Standard signal means what? The signals which is universally accepted throughout this globe. Means how? जैसे कि अभी we are learning in Amravati University. There are so many universities in India. Even more than that, if you are talking about globally, there are thousands of universities. Now, there should be some signals which is very standard and definition of is very common. So how we can define this standard signal? It is already given by some researchers and scientists that we are going to see under here. तो इसके टाइप्स कौन से हैं और कौन से सिग्नल्स होते हैं जिसको हम अभी लर्न करने जा रहे हैं? That I'll define and we'll start from there. So उसमें से स्टैंडर्ड सिग्नल्स में सबसे पहला था यूनिट स्टेप फंक्शंस, उसके बाद यूनिट इंपल्स फंक्शंस, then units prime functions, then parabolic functions, and so many functions are there. ठीक है, okay, I'll do one thing. So what are the types of signals? Here it is. So there are some signals like unit step signal, जिसको फंक्शन भी कहा जाता है। ओके, उसके बाद आता है यूनिट इंपल्स फंक्शंस, उसके बाद यूनिट रैम्प फंक्शंस, यूनिट पैराबोलिक फंक्शंस, और उसके बाद एक्सपोनेंशियल फंक्शंस। सो दीज आर दी व्हाट स्टैंडर्ड सिग्नल्स। इसका मीनिंग क्या आता है? इसको 1 by 1 यूनिवर्सिटी एग्जाम में पूछा जाता है 7 to 8 मार्क्स के लिए। State and explain standard discrete time or standard analog functions and explain one of them. So we'll define first what is mean by standard signal. Now, if I say, if I'm talking about unit step functions, so the meaning of unit step function in Amravati University, in Nagpur University, in Manchester University, or in any university from abroad, meaning will be the same. That's why the parameter and the definition we consider it as same, and is a standard. Now, what is the meaning of unit step functions? How we can define the function of unit step function, that we are going to see. But before that, please understand there is some function we called it x of t and t. जब भी बात हम x of t and t की करते हैं तो x is always considered as the input function and y is always considered as the output function. But if I'm talking about other than x and y, then there are some standard signals. The first standard signal we are going to concentrate on is what? Unit step function. This is what a unit step functions. Okay, unit step function is always given by u of t. Unit step function is always given by u of t. तो जब भी कभी आपको u of t से डिनोट किया गया हो तो प्लीज कंसीडर दिस फंक्शन इज एज अ यूनिट स्टेप फंक्शन. ओके, नाउ क्वेश्चन, व्हाट इज यूनिट स्टेप फंक्शंस? इसमें तो हमें पता है x of t and t होता है. सो नाउ दिस फंक्शन इज व्हाट t and here it is u. So you need to define unit step function because this is what are your standard functions. And when we are talking about, just a minute. एक मिनट, just a minute. ओके, सो यूनिट स्टेप फंक्शंस में देखिए, जब भी कभी आपको पूरे दुनिया में कभी भी u of t बता है तो समझ लीजिए ये यूनिट स्टेप फंक्शंस है. और ऑलवेज यूनिट स्टेप फंक्शन मींस u of t is given by as u of t is equals to, it is 1 when t is greater than or equals to 0 and it is 0 when t is less than 0. फिर से एक बार रिपीट करता हूँ, अभी एक एक सिग्नल को करेंगे. एंड प्लीज मार्क माय वर्ड, हम कुछ एक्स्ट्रा लेक्चर्स भी लेंगे सैटरडे संडे टू कवर माय सिलेबस. बट to require the basic requirement is what you should know some fundamentals, and to know the fundamentals I'm just giving and will deliberately learn this case. Okay, now we see unit step function means what? It is u of t is equals to 1 and it is 0. It is 1. The 1, when it is 1, it is 1 when the value of t is greater than or equals to 0. Okay, good. Then when it is 0, it is 0 when the value of t is less than 0. So what we understand from all these things, because u of t or any function, it is a function of time and we can define with respect to time. फिर आप क्वेश्चन पूछिए कि how we are going to understand this. अभी देखिए क्वेश्चन, अभी इसको मैं सबसे पहले इसका ग्राफ प्लॉट करता हूँ. ये ग्राफ है, ये हॉरिजॉन्टल है और ये वर्टिकल है. तो जो वर्टिकल है ये आपका रेफरेंस पॉइंट होता है जिसको हम 0 कहते हैं, और ये हॉरिजॉन्टल है इसको हम हमेशा t डिफाइन करते हैं. और अभी यहाँ पे मैं x of t नहीं लिखूंगा, आई विल मेंशन हियर इट इज u of t. दिस इज व्हाट माय फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन. ओके, नाउ कमिंग टू द पॉइंट, आप यहाँ पे एक बात समझ लीजिए, मुझे बताइए t इज ग्रेटर देन और 0. t की वैल्यू इफ इट इज ग्रेटर देन 0 मींस व्हाट, इट विल बी अ 1 2 3 4 5 till the plus infinity. तो ये जो पोर्शन हो गया, दिस पोर्शन बिलोंग्स टू व्हाट? t is greater than or equals to 0, क्योंकि ये रेफरेंस है. t is greater than or equals to 0, तो ये हो गया मेरा राइट हैंड साइड. t is greater than 0. Okay, now when t is greater than 0, please, when t is greater than 0, the u of t की वैल्यू कितनी होती है? It is 1. So I'll mark when I do plot the signals, it is from 0. Suppose this is what my magnitude 1. So this is what the function till the infinity, because for t is equals to t is greater than equals to 0, it is 1. So इस लाइन को मैंने प्लॉट कर दिया है. फिर अभी हम प्लॉट करेंगे क्या? When t is less than 0. t is less than 0 means what? -1, -2, -3, so on till -infinity. तो ये जो एरिया होगा यहाँ से लेफ्ट हैंड साइड, ये क्या होता है? t is less than 0. t is less than 0 means what? -1 to -infinity. तो इस रेंज में वैल्यू क्या रहती है आपकी? It is 0. जब it is a 0, then I'll plot this output here, this given like this. So इसीलिए यहाँ पे हमने 0 को प्लॉट. Now if you see the plot, this is nothing but what? Unit step function. Okay, now coming to the point, why I called or some scientists called step functions. Forget about this word unit. Unit के बारे में थोड़ा सा 2 मिनट के लिए छोड़ दीजिए। इसको स्टेप फंक्शन क्यों कहा जाता है? बिकॉज स्टेयरकेस जैसे पता है आपको, स्टेयरकेस मराठीमध्ये त्याला पायऱ्या म्हणतात. इट इफ यू सी द क्रॉस सेक्शनल व्यू ऑफ द स्टेयरकेस, इट लुक्स like a staircase. This is what a staircase. If I see the signals analysis of one bite of my signal, it looks like a step. And this journey is starts with this here point. If you see, the journey starts from like this moment, and this is also look like a step. That's why it is called as step functions. This is called as step functions. फिर अभी एक मैं इसमें थोड़ा चेंज करता हूँ स्क्रीन के ऊपर, एक बार देख लीजिए. अभी मैं इसमें से स्टेप यूनिट निकाल देता हूँ, वर्ड मैं यूनिट वर्ड निकाल देता हूँ. यूनिट वर्ड निकालता हूँ तो उसके बाद आपका पॉइंट चेंज हो जाता है. यहाँ पे एम्पलीट्यूड कितना था? 1 था ना. अभी इसको ए कर देता हूँ, यहाँ पे ए कर देता हूँ, और यहाँ पे भी पॉइंट आपका ए हो जाता है. ए इज व्हाट? एनी एम्पलीट्यूड वैल्यू. लेकिन when I mention here it is unit मतलब 1, so here the values again become 1 and the amplitude becomes 1. So this is what the concept of unit step functions. Now and onwards, always remember, if in interview or in job interview, if they ask you what is mean by unit step functions, so how you can define it, please mark my word properly. Sir, unit step function is one of the standard signal function where when the function of value of t is greater than or equals to 0, it is considered as a 1 or amplitude. And when the function of the value of t is less than 0, it is to be a 0. It looks like a step function and one of the standard functions. So this is what the actual definition of unit step functions. Okay. Now, if you have any questions on this, kindly ask. Because once I complete this part, in future lecture, when I'll define and when I'll refer, as you know, it is a unit step functions, then you should be in a position to define my same answer. Sir, what is unit step function? It is the function, it is a standard function where when t is greater than 0, it is 1, when t is less than 0, it is 0. This is the simple answer I am expecting from you people. I'm not going to tell you are learning M1, M2, M3. No, this is not my job and my duty. My duty is what I taught you, I'll ask on the basis of the same questions. Hope so. I don't know whether you are getting my sound properly or not, but hope so you are getting, because I'm facing some technical issues with this audio signal processing. Okay, but if you genuinely understand this concept, kindly acknowledge. And if you have any questions, your questions are most welcome. Okay. Hello. Shall I move ahead?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, एक मिनिट, मला तुमचा आवाज नाही येत. तुम्ही बोलताय मला लक्षात येत. पण चॅटबॉक्स मध्ये एक मेसेज टाकून द्या. ओके, दॅट फ्लिप फाईन फॉर मी. Okay, good. So this is what my first concept that I started with unit step function. And always remember, next lecture I'll also ask the same question. That time you should be in a position to define only that, sir, t is greater than 0, then it is 1, it is 0, it is 0. So you understand the basic concept, and don't worry, all this material I am having with my handwritten notes, I'll share with you once I complete my lecture. Okay, now moving towards second standard signal. So my second standard signal, I consider it as unit. Sorry, I will not use this word. Here it is. I simply consider impulse functions. And impulse function is always, जैसे कि u of t यूनिट स्टेप फंक्शन होता है, तो वैसे ही impulse function हमेशा del of t से शो किया जाता है. तो जब भी कभी दुनिया में we use del of t, so consider this function is as a del of t, means impulse functions. So impulse functions means what? This function is having their own weightage in signal domain. इसका खुद का ही एक इम्पोर्टेंट होता है in the place of signal analysis. कैसे? We'll see. When the function is given as a del of t, so this function is mathematically given as del of t is equals to, again, इसमें फिर से हम दो इसमें क्लासिफाई करते हैं. That function is what, the function is not what. So इस functions को हम हमेशा so this function is always given is what? It is 1 and it is 0. तो हमेशा ध्यान में रखिए जब भी हम डिफाइन करते हैं del of t is 1 and del of t is 0. Now question arises when it is 1 and when it is 0. So del of t is 1 when the value of t is equals to 0. जब t की वैल्यू 0 होती है then and then it is 1. Now second question, when it is 0? It is 0 when the value of t is not equals to 0. This is the simple case, and this is what second standard signal. I'll repeat. Impulse means what? One spike. Okay. I'll just plot the graph of impulse function. How it will look like. Here you can see. उसके पहले एक बार फिर से रिपीट करता हूँ. How I can define impulse functions? Impulse functions most of them occurred in place of signal analysis, where it is defined mathematically when t is equals to 0. It is 1, and when t is not equals to 0, it is 0. कैसे? I'll plot a simple graph. Here it is. Again, same graph here. Horizontal axis. This is my vertical axis. Horizontal axis, I'll mention here it is t. This is my reference 0. This is from minus infinity to plus infinity, and this is what the del of t. मैंने plot define कर दिए. Now I need to define the values. Or values I can define on the basis of the concept. Now here इसमें पता है, यहाँ पे बताया है कि t is equals to 0. So this is the point where t is equals to 0. This is the point where I can define t is equals to 0. Good. Now, then what is the meaning of t not equals to 0? T not equals to 0 means what? This portion, other than this, is t not equals to 0, and this portion, this t is not equals to 0. तो ग्राफ कैसे प्लॉट करेंगे हम इन सभी फंक्शंस को? से when t is equal to 0, it is it is not 1, it is a, because it is impulse functions. Okay. लेकिन जैसे ही मैं यहाँ पे यूनिट लिखता हूँ, यूनिट के वजह से this value becomes 1. Then this values becomes 1. तो आप समझ लीजिए यहाँ पे इम्पल्स फंक्शन भी होता है और यूनिट भी. यूनिट होता है तो वैल्यू है. Now I consider this is what a magnitude of 1, and this for t is equal to 0. एक सिंगल लाइन ड्रॉ हो जाती है. This is what the actual graph is. When for this case, and when t is not equals to 0, when the t is not equals to 0, the answer is 0. तो इसीलिए इसका ग्राफ पूरा 0 होता है. This is what impulse functions. Now, if you are talking about, or if you are giving any lecture or guest lecture in abroad university and you are talking about impulse function, the person and the student and the faculty from that university will understand, yes, this is what impulse function, because it is universally accepted and the definition is the same. Del of t means impulse functions, u of t means step functions. So the graphically it will look like this. It is just like an impulse, and that concept is called as impulse. An impulse function is always defined by step. Okay, now one more point here it is. Again, mathematically and technically it is defined as, because the value of t starts from minus infinity to plus infinity, and when it starts from minus infinity to plus infinity, it is also given like this. Okay, so technically it is given as del of t is defined as integration from minus infinity to plus infinity in the domain of del of t into dt is equals to always 1. So this is what the point of discussion, that unit impulse functions is defined when t is equals to 0 and it is 0 when t is not equals to 0. This is what from my side the second standard signals. Now as we are switching from unit step function to unit impulse functions, don't get confused with the signals and their definitions. Always remember, this is what the prerequisite information that we are going to study, और ये आपको पूरे सिग्नल्स प्रोसेसिंग में कभी भी पूछा जा सकता है. As you know, because we are performing all the practical on the basis of signals and system and the theory. If we know the theory, then we can perform a practical. If you don't know the theory, how we can perform practical? Why? Because whatever things we learn in class, we actually observe or feel or analysis in practicals. आपके लिए मैं एक मैटलैब पे वर्कशॉप भी डिजाइन करने वाला हूँ. जैसे कि आज के डेट में आपको पता है, नाउ देयर इज बूम ऑफ प्रोग्रामिंग. Engineer should not be engineer, it should be a programmer. Now, to write a programming, there is no only platform of C, C++, Java, Oracle, VB.NET. We are the part of the sequence and analysis. So there are other than some programming language like a Python, MATLAB, Scilab. If you know any one of the language and if you are in a position to write a 10 line of programming coding, 10 लाइन की कोडिंग भी आप खुद लिख सकते हो by your own without Google काका, without Google uncle. If you are in a position to write your own programming, that will raise my case. But to know the and to write the program, you should be in a position to know the concept. Without fundamentals, you can't do anything. These are my fundamentals. जब भी मैं workshop अभी this coming month में I'll propose one workshop on MATLAB for my signals and system. That time I'll define and मैं MATLAB में define करूँगा कि how I can develop my code for this segment. But again the question is what? You should know what is impulse functions. You should know what is step function. If I ask you in that lecture, now dear, tell me the definition of step and impulse function, you should be in a position to know the concept. So this is what the actual definition. Hope so you understand these two functions up to now. Okay, now I'll switch to the next and the third important point is what. Let's go. Okay, I'll move toward next. Okay, hope so you understand in the case. If any questions at the end of the session, we'll discuss. My next question is again थोड़ा fast चलते हैं अभी. My next point is what? Ramp functions. और रैंप फंक्शन हमेशा r of t से डिनोट किया जाता है या फिर u suffix r of t से डिनोट किया जाता है. So this is what are ramp functions. Now what is meant by ramp? Why it is called as ramp? It is called as ramp because the structure looks like a ramp. How? We'll see. सबसे पहले इसको हम define करते हैं mathematically. How it is defined as? It is r of t. एक बात हमेशा याद रखिए, जब भी हम नया सिग्नल लर्न करते हैं तो पुराने वाले को मत स्किप कीजिए, उसको भी समझिए, इसको ध्यान में रखिए, नहीं इसको साथ कंपेयर कीजिए. सबसे पहले r of t is equals to, it is the value of t and the value of 0. अभी थोड़ा इसको रिवर्स अप्रोच में पढ़ाता हूँ. कैसे? आपको पता है कि सिग्नल एनालिसिस में हम दो हिस्सों में क्लासिफाई करते हैं सिग्नल्स को. पहला हमारा पॉइंट होता है व्हेन t is greater than or equals to 0 और सेकंड पोर्शन हमारा होता है व्हेन t is less than 0. आपको यूनिट स्टेप फंक्शन पता है, आपको इंपल्स फंक्शन पता है, उसमें भी हमने दोनों ही पॉइंट लिखे थे, t is greater than 0 and t is less than 0. यहाँ पे मैंने u लिखा है, u stands for और it is यूनिट स्टेप फंक्शन, बट r होने की वजह से इसका थोड़ा फंक्शन मॉड्यूलेट होता है. हाउ? विल सी. जब भी हम सिग्नल्स को डिफाइन करते हैं दो हिस्सों में, one is what? t is greater than 0 and the second is t is less than 0. When t is greater than 0 यहाँ पे 1 लिखता हो तो that will become unit step functions. Please understand. If I mention 1 for t is greater than 0, it will be simply a unit step function. But if I mention instead of 1, if I mention t, then it will become ramp functions. Okay, and when t is less than 0, it is simply 0. Okay, now how the change of 1 to t will occur in graphical representations that we'll see here it is. This is what again horizontal axis of t. This is what horizontal axis of r of t. This is from 0, this is minus infinity, and this is plus infinity. Okay, now as I know, this function is only applicable for means non-zero term is what when t is greater than 0. T is greater than 0 means 0. Then 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. उसी तरह आर ऑफ टी का भी वैल्यू रखता हूं मैं. ये हो गया 0, ये 1, ये 2, ये 3, ये 4, ये 5. ठीक है. इनका कहना क्या है, when t is greater than 0 the value is t. Okay, for t is equal to 0 the value of t is 0. This is my first point. When the value of t is 1, when the value of t is 1 it is 1. When value of t is 2 it is 2. When value of 3 is t 3. When value of t is 4 r of t is 4. And when it is 4 कैसे we'll see. When value is 1 it is this. When value of t is 2 2. When value of 3 3. When value of 4 4. When you have 5. So this is what look like a ramp functions because r of t is equals to t. जो ये t है वही r of t है, इसीलिए it is called as linear functions. इसीलिए इसको कहा जाता है ramp function because it from cross sectional view is look like a ramp functions. So that's why it is considered as a ramping functions. So this is what also again the step unit functions and the ramp function and this is what standard है. फिर आपको एक क्वेश्चन होना चाहिए why I mention यहाँ पे u, why I mention u suffix r of t. This is u for what? Because unit step function क्योंकि it is greater than t is equal to 0. And it is 0 for t is less than 0. लेकिन ये r के वजह से it is ramp function where I changing the function it is from t. So ramp function भी step function होता है. सिर्फ ramp functions और step function में difference ये होता है कि step function में constant the value of amplitude is constant that is 1. But in case of step functions it is in case of ramp function it is not a function, it is a value of t. So this is what about from today's lecture, third standard signals. So hope so you understand these three standard signals. The first one is unit step function, the second one is unit impulse functions, and the third one is unit ramp functions. If you have any questions based on this, we will discuss. So this is what the अभी इसमें थोड़ा सा कंपैरिजन फास्ट में बता देता हूँ एंड इसके बाद हम स्टार्ट करते हैं. तो सबसे पहले यूनिट स्टेप फंक्शंस को मैं u of t से डिफाइन करता हूँ, इसको del of t से और इसको r of t से. This is what the 3 points mathematical as we all know. Okay, u of t it is given as 1 and 0. 1 for what? T is greater than 0 and 0 is for t is less than 0. Del of t is equals to what? It is 1 and 0 when t is equals to 0 and when t is not equals to 0. And r of t is what? It is again t for t is greater than 0 and 0 for t is less than 0. इसका ग्राफ आपको पता हो, इसका ग्राफ एक बार एक्सप्लेन करते तो थोड़ा वहां से. So this is what the case. This is what the plot for this diagram. This is for impulse function and this is for So this is what the actual definitions of relation. हमने थोड़ा सा फास्ट में इसको बताया कि यूनिट स्टेप फंक्शन इम्पल्स फंक्शन से functions. Hope so you understand this concept here. और भी कुछ बहुत सारे स्टैंडर्ड सिग्नल्स होते हैं, लेकिन मैं आप क्या करते जाइए, आपके पास कुछ पॉइंट्स नहीं है तो स्क्रीनशॉट निकालते जाइए, नोट डाउन करिए. ओके, नेक्स्ट लेक्चर कुछ भी डाउट्स रहा इन बिटवीन, आपके पास मेरा व्हाट्सएप नंबर भी है, आप मुझे मेरा व्हाट्सएप नंबर और मेरा पर्सनल नंबर एक ही है. यू कैन गिव मी अ कॉल एंड वी कैन डिस्कस. Okay, now I am having 1 minute more. So if you have any questions, kindly ask me or kindly mention the question in chat box. This is from my side from today's lecture. Any questions? मराठीत पण चालेल ना, हिंदीत पण चालेल आणि इंग्लिश मध्ये पण. संस्कृत तामिळ नाही, मला येत नाही ते. Okay, hope so you understand my questions. So okay, hope so you are not having any question, but still if you face any issues, kindly discuss with me. So thank you, bye bye, take care.
Thank
और
you.
अटेंडेंस दे दीजिएगा.
Thank you, sir.